Welcome back to OpenLine tonight. You know, we're having a really good conversation about a really tough topic, gun violence in our community. You turn on the news just about any day, unfortunately, and you hear about someone who has been shot. And quite frankly, it's just got to stop. And that's what every person up here knows. And through some pretty tough stories. Talia and John have both lost sons who have been murdered. Earl, I don't think that you've been necessarily touched personally by gun violence, but by gosh, you're surrounded by it because of the work that you've chosen through Partners in the Struggle, the organization. We're going to talk about PITS more in a little bit, but John, I want to hear your thoughts on what is the solution, especially when it comes to young kids and guns. I just don't get why they're just turning to guns.
Right. Well, times have changed, the atmosphere has changed. People have changed. There is a cliche, it takes a village to raise a child, but we've lost that village mindset of reaching out in our neighborhoods, in our hoods, you know, and seeing a child in the wrong and you start correcting. Like you said, you got to catch them in the high chair, they'll wind up in the electric chair. So we have to start early on them and then get that mindset again, that village, that's not just a cliche, that's truth.
Because so many times, if you know, I've seen it through covering different stories, a parent, you know, will call the neighbors down the street and say, I saw your son do this. Well, get out of my business. And it's like, well, wait a second, I'm trying to help. And I know it can be all tone and how you approach it and blah, 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 but that I think is what you're going to, right? We got to all watch out for each other.
And we need parents like that mother was that when they got that son on the TV, and she was wearing that head out.
Yes, I remember that. I remember that. Yes.
And now I saw one lady, her son slapped her and she pushed him off the porch and she went to jail. And I was worried about whether they were going to arrest this mother for going down and telling her son, "You're not, no, just because everybody's doing it, I'm not going to let you do it."
The riots in Philadelphia or somewhere around, or Pittsburgh, something like that. It was a couple of years ago, yeah. And she said, "No, you're not going down there."
Right. And if you had parents like that, I mean, concerned people in our neighborhoods where we're all behind, you know, burglar bars and not knowing the neighbor next door and afraid to say anything to those children. Because the parent will be the one you'll have to deal with, and they'll believe. See, when I grew up, I could, if Miss Alice, Mama Alice called the house, I bet not come home and say she's telling a story. You calling her a lie? You know, I mean, and I think if we ever get back to that, and then if we return to the scriptures, you know, 2nd Chronicles 14:7, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray, turn from their evil ways. You know, and I think if we get back to that, and I say again, if the churches, if these pastors, I mean these mega churches and all of us would come together to combat this problem and teach and train our people, get parents. You know, I don't care if you're 16 or 14, somebody needs to talk to that skull and tell you how, because that's what Big Mama did. Mud did that back in the day, you know. But now Mud did get cussed out, spoke out if she try to tell you. So I think it's still a way to get a handle on it, but it's going to take some hard work and partnering with someone who has this ministry in his heart, and talk to pastors and parishioners and children. And like I said earlier when we were off the air, I wish they'd reinstate the draft.
Give kids something to do, right?
That's right. They don't have anything to do. And if it makes you a farmer, I don't care. Get them off the street. Teach them some discipline. Let them be screamed at and cursed at, you know, like a drill sergeant, you know, and that will give them some discipline. And then when they get out, they'll have a determination to be better and to be all they can be and have some benefits in life.
Now, Earl, with Partners in the Struggle, I know you go into the schools, you talk to kids. Do you ever see that light bulb go off? Do you have, you know, where kids go, okay, I'm starting to get this. I hear what you're saying.
Well, I mean, you do. But then, you know, sometimes, you know, they got to have it consistently. I'm just only there for 8 months. So that summertime, if they go back to their own neighborhood, someone's like, you got to reinvent the brain again. So you do, and that's where you work even harder. See, that's the next thing, you know. How many hard workers do we have in this city that's willing to, you know, pull up their sleeves and say, let's go save these kids? How many? You know, how many?
That's right.
You know, so we got to come to that concept of this is what we're going to do. It's like Elder Gasway said, I mean, you know, anything and everything that make it to where we should say, hey, it's about our children. Parents, if you need help, we gonna help you. But you know, the easiest thing for a kid now is to get a gun. They can get a gun anywhere. You know, so we need to make sure we get, you know, Mayor Barry knows she's doing a good job, and Chief Anderson, we make sure that these individuals are selling these guns to our children. We need to go at them twofold. We need to find them. You know what communities where they're in. You know, I'm just gonna keep it, you know, realistic, and that's what it's gonna take if you want the city of Nashville to be safer. You know, I want to be safe. You know, I want to make sure that our children don't have to resort to a handgun. You know, when they get upset and angry, we got to teach them conflict resolutions. You know, when you get angry, this is what you can do to de-escalate your anger. We got to do it.
You also wanted to raise gun violence awareness this month for so many reasons, but one, because this is a particularly hard month for families like John's family and Talia's family and so many more, just because of the holidays, right?
End of the year, you know, and we're going to a new year in a couple of weeks, you know, so that is one of the reasons why, you know, and I wanted to make sure I could bring some happiness in all the families that we touch in this month, because it's hard, you know, and I'm saying, I mean, just that pain. It can be 5 years, 5 months, 20 years. That pain never goes away. And so at least, you know, this is therapy for Elder Gasway and Talia. This is the reason why I selected, when we're not going to have a organization where we're just going to come together in a building, we're going to say, hey, you know, Elder Gasway, how you doing this month? No, we're going to get busy. Use that testimony as a voice to change. Because like I said again, I think America doesn't really understand, unless you've been in that situation. Right. You have no earthly idea what these two have went through. And so that's my job, to make sure that everyone understands what these families, our families, are going through, and we can change this by their testimonies.
And you make it a point to especially bring up unsolved murders, to keep those in the spotlight.
People forget. Society forgets. You know, I started Unsolved Murder weekday, weekend, you know, 7 years ago, it'd be in 2017. So I wanted to make sure that, you know, the public, you know, you never know who might know something. You know, I watch 48 Hours all the time, and I see Unsolved Murder be 20 years. I'm like, just one little clue. It can be an inmate talking to another inmate, and he hear him say something about a murder here in Nashville, but he can be in Mississippi. You know, so it can. You know, so I just keep pushing. You know, and yeah, sometimes I get tired.
I'm sure you get discouraged.
Yes, I do, but I pray. I've learned how to pray. You know, I've learned how to use that as my tool to pump me up like Superman, where at least, you know, if I'm strong, they're going to be stronger with an ER on the end. And that's what I try to do. That's what I try to do.
What did it mean to you when you all were right in the heart of your son's murders, just happened to have people come alongside you and say, I'm standing beside you. I mean, I understand what you're going through, but I'm here with you.
But they forget, they forget.
Really?
After the funeral, and you go home, the phone quits ringing, they forget. And you're sitting there trying to deal with it all by yourself. And if you don't have a God on your side, and that inward spirit that would encourage you to hold your head up, you know, and it's happening all around us. And I don't know what, you know, we talked about a solution. I don't know whether drugs, and I think sometimes drugs plays a part in it, because, and it's parents too. If a young man goes out and start dealing drugs, and he's got his guns, and he's able to put them 24s on his car, buy his mama a new house, and she accepts it, and it just encourages him, and she's sitting there, the parents are encouraging them because they've never enjoyed this kind of luxury. And so if that's threatened, first thing they do is reach in there and pull out that Uzi or whatever you call it, and go to shooting at one another. So I think it's a lot of things that we need to take control of and get our hands on, and not forget, like Earl, he doesn't forget, and he's never had to face it like she and I have. But I mean, your own family,
Talia, did you experience the same sort of thing?
Well, for me, mentally, I didn't want people to understand because it hurts. In the beginning of this journey, because I'm on a journey, I realized how much my son was loved. So when Earl came along in the beginning, you know, it was a tug of war. Hey T, I want you to get out here and speak. I want you to, you know, it was a tug of war. I say, I don't know if I can do this. When my son first got killed, I didn't even speak to the news. 2, 4, and 5 was outside of my home. My son was 10 years old at the time. Him and some of my son's friends spoke to the news because I just didn't think I could get on camera. But the more I realized how much my son meant to people in Nashville, how much he was loved, all the memories that they had with him, I knew I could not let his name go in vain, his life. And so Earl was that fire, you know. We always did things in memory of my son. That what kept my heart beating, you know, because you know, people they do forget, you know, and their life have to go on. You know, they don't understand that your life stops. They don't understand it, and I don't want my family and friends to understand that sometimes. You know, sometimes that hurt, you want to keep it to yourself because you don't want to see nobody else go through that hurt. But with support, you know, without even asking, that means something in itself. I mean, that has meant more to me and my family than anything. Just having support out of nowhere. And I've had other people that's been supportive, and Lord knows I'm not knocking them. I love them. I'm very appreciative of that, you know. But the support we get with partners in the struggle and the things we do, like I said, without asking, you know, he already knows. You know, sometimes, you know, even some of the things that we've done and just laugh, you know, sometimes you need this. It's days that you're going to go through and you don't know if you're going to make it through that day or not. You don't know. I can watch TV sometimes and a situation will go on in a scene and I'm bawling, you know, because this scene is sad, but at the same time you're hurting. So yeah, you know, this support, it means a lot to us. It means a lot to this city. It means a lot nationally, but it means a lot to Nashville. People don't understand the effort Earl puts in, and his family, his girlfriend Erica, his kids put into this, just to be here for people that's going through something awful, you know, just to support the loved ones, just to support victims. So yeah, it means more to us than anything in this world.
People who are surviving with that
That's
hurt.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
When we come back, we're going to talk more about partners in the struggle, how we all can get involved in that, so stay with us.
And you know, how do you do that?